Welcome to Power CEOs, the truth behind the business. I'm Jen Gaudet, your fearless host, and I'm here because I believe that iron sharpens iron. And when we bring industry leaders, experts, disruptors to share what's working in business and even what's not, we are all able to learn and grow. As a result, our businesses grow, and the ripple effect impacts not only ourselves, our teams, and their families, but also our communities and our world. You are in for a treat today. I have a very special guest here, Melanie Johnson, media mogul, international best-selling author, founder of Elite Online Publishing. She is here to share with us the scoop. How do we stand out in the noise? How do we establish trust and leverage our brand voice in a world that's inundated with AI and robots? So Melanie, welcome to Power CEOs.
Thank you so much for having me. It is such a pleasure. I'm a huge fan of the show. Just love it. Thanks so much.
I'm super excited about this because the problem facing so many of the people who watch, of the business owners and entrepreneurs today, is there's this huge transition happening. AI is flooding everything. We have all these things thrown at us.
Yes.
And how do we allow our authentic voice to come through all the noise? How do we set ourselves apart? And even more so, you're seeing this huge shift in generations where we're exiting businesses, we're exiting corporate in favor of starting a business. And so what does that mean for us as an identity crisis? I want to dive into all of the details.
I can't wait.
So let's start first. You work with a lot of leaders.
Yeah.
And a lot of leaders who may be preparing to exit a role, or maybe they're starting a new role. And they come to you because, well, who am I if I'm not the CEO of XYZ Corporation? Well, how do we solve that problem?
It's really such an identity crisis, right? They're used to having all of these people around. And we did Jamie Root's book, president of the Houston Texans. And, he eventually got let go from there. It was a transition. And then he was used to having a team, and suddenly you're not having a team. This is the era of building your personal brand. So starting now and moving forward, whether you're a CEO of a company or you're an individual working in management level, C-level, you've got to start building your personal brand so you can have your own individual voice and people know who you are. Otherwise, like I told you earlier in the green room, it's like if you're not telling your story and building your brand, somebody else is going to do it for you. You've got to be in control of that narrative.
Absolutely, and it's so true now. And it might be AI telling the story for you. So, but here is something that I hear, because people come to me. I help people launch their businesses, scale their businesses, and exit their businesses.
Yes.
And one of the things that I hear from people who are still in corporate that are making that transition is, well, I don't know if I can build a personal brand, because what if my company sees me? What if it's not what I want to appear on LinkedIn, or I'm not ready for my company to know I'm exiting my role? What advice do you give to those people who are kind of in that transition and they're a little hesitant, or they may also say something like, I don't like being the center of attention, or I'm not really one to self-promote. Like, how do we answer those kind of concerns?
I think you have to find your middle ground of where you are comfortable, right? For some people like that I work with, it's really telling your story in a book. So that way you have full control of the entire narrative. And usually companies are okay with that, as long as you are also pointing direction to their company. It's advertising for them. It's making them seem like they're forefront of it. But you do have to have that conversation with the company when you're doing that to make sure it's okay. And we worked with Laura Murillo, Dr. Laura Murillo. She is president of the largest Hispanic chamber. And she knew that she might be transitioning, but by doing her book, it ingrained her even more into the Houston Chamber of Commerce, Hispanic Chamber. And they loved it because it promoted her. It gave her a reason to have media attention. So not only did it grow her personal brand, it grew the company that she was working for. So you've got to think about, are you comfortable just posting on LinkedIn? Are you comfortable telling your whole story? Another great exercise, Jen, I want to say that you should do, a lot of people don't with AI. We did this with somebody yesterday. Ask ChatGPT or any of the formats, what do you know about me? So I put in, what do you know about Melanie Johnson? We did this for Andy Falco. He's an expert witness, and it was interesting what it came up with. But it was only what it knew, right? And then we said, well, what would a lawyer ask him if he was on the stand? and did a scenario. So it's just different ways to do that. So if it knows you or not. And then we recently had 2 people find us, Elite Online Publishing, by doing a ChatGPT search.
Oh yeah, and AI optimization,
right?
a whole other conversation, because marketing is changing, how we're getting found is changing. But I do want to dive into this since you brought up ChatGPT. Listen, I did an exercise yesterday, and I asked, what is my brand vibe on Facebook?
Great question.
I thought it was, and I only wanted to know what it was on Facebook specifically because I'm not very active there.
Yeah.
But I'm a little snarky and I'm pretty direct. So I'm like, am I coming across wrong? Because if people are on LinkedIn, people find me on LinkedIn, people find me on television. Right. Those are my 2 main sources. But if they find me and they go to Facebook, is it going to be that off? And it cracked me up. It told me, I can't remember the exact words, but it said I was premium with punch.
Oh, that's
and it said
like you, right?
It said I was premium with punch, and it said like a fine single malt whiskey in a crystal glass, no garnish. I was like, oh, I think it kind of is. It might be right. And so I thought about it, and I said, well, I'm no BS, I'm no fluff. I'm telling you how it is. I want to bring the truth, what's real, what's not real, to here. I'm not here on television to tell the Instagram story. I want the raw, and it picked that up. So I thought that was really interesting.
So, and that's why it's such a great exercise to do that with your brand, right? Your social media brand, or even asking it, hey, what should my personal brand be? How should I express my personal brand being the CEO of this company or whatever position that you're in, and seeing the feedback and getting some ideas.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I'm so glad we went there. So now let me ask the next question, because I was on stage yesterday, and I was on stage speaking about AI and how we can leverage the tool to help us with everything within our business from an optimization standpoint. And one person stood up and asked the question, well, can I write my book with AI? And I said, whoa, that's a loaded question. But I have the person to ask tomorrow. So I'm really excited. I'm literally asking this person for someone. My opinion is, you know what? It has to be your content and you use it to optimize. But I want to know what the expert has to say.
Okay, so overall, I'm going to say no. But you can use AI for a tool to get you started, right? You can upload your speeches, your videos, any content, blog post, all of those things you can upload. And we're writing a book right now called Be Recognized, and we did that same thing, that exercise. So it came up with chapter titles, ideas, and ideas for content. But what's missing that only you can put in your book is your stories, your personal expertise and experience. Otherwise, it's going to make stuff up. I mean, when we first did this, it made up people, it made up companies. We're like, well, that's all deleted, right? But now let's insert our knowledge into that to make it whole. So you really can do it as an idea factory. So, ChatGPT can be used for ideas, it can be used for thinking, can be used for structure. So I always say in writing, I used to say it's 10-80-10. But really, when you're writing a book, it's like really 20% of you, and then maybe 60% where AI is giving you ideas and content, and then another 20%. But it could be even more, that you're having to, because then after that, you've got to go through editing and all of that sort of thing. So I think it's great, just to reiterate, it's great to get like outline ideas, some general content ideas and things that you wouldn't think of, just to brainstorm. But at the end of the day, it has to be your story, your content, and your journey. So it's believable and it's authentic. Otherwise, they're going to call BS on it.
Sure will, especially me. True story. So I'm going to ask you the next question. What is the risk of waiting too long to build this presence, this authority, this credibility? How does personal brand earn you a seat at tables even after you've left your last industry or last gig?
The thing is, you get to take your personal brand with you wherever you go. And, to say, when is it too late? Well, it's never too late to start, right? Start as soon as you can. Tomorrow is a great day to start. And work with experts as well. Sometimes you feel like you're in a vacuum, especially if you're already left a job. You have no idea. So join a group, get an expert, get a coach, get a consultant to help you do that and figure out where you should be positioning yourself, how you should be positioning yourself. And then the big job is, well, what is your goal? What do you want to do? What's the end game? Because if you don't know what that is, it's hard to say what part of your brand. And now that's a conversation too, because all of us have different parts of our personality. We're not all the same. Like, we're different when we're a parent. We use a different part of our skill set. We're different when we're maybe at work. We're different when we're with our girlfriends, or, you know what I'm saying? Or when you're acting as a coach on Little League. So what parts of those personality do you want to share that's going to get you to your end game of your goal? You don't have to share all of you, but you have to share the part that's going to get you to the goal of where you want to be in the next phase of your life.
Melanie, your perspective is powerful. It's practical. For our viewers who want to start this, what is the one step to get started on this journey? If they're just hearing this and they're like, oh, I feel attacked right now. I feel like you're speaking directly to me. I'm triggered. I need to do something here. What is the one first step? Because it could be overwhelming.
You know, let's bring AI into this, because that's where the conversation is. Go ask those questions to artificial intelligence. So we talked about ChatGPT, but I also like Manus. I think Manus is really great right now. Grok just launched 4, so that's looking pretty good. You know, we did a lot of content on Claude when we did the recent book, Be Recognized. So I would say just ask those questions and find prompts. Another great thing is if you go into ChatGPT under GPTs and you put in how to do my own personal brand, it'll come up with these custom prompts that people have built that you can piggyback on, that you don't have to think about this elaborate prompt, and you can use that to get started. So ask those questions of like, hey, what should I do? What should I do to start my personal brand? I'm leaving my job. Give it some context. I think that's the easiest, fastest way to give you some ideas, and then ask it to give you some action steps. And then from there, again, go back to working with an expert to help you.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Folks, we are on a roll. We do have to take a brief break. You're going to want to stay tuned because we're going to dive even deeper after the break. We'll be right back after these messages.